Good evening, everyone. This is Pradeep Mall, Ambassador of Change from GETI, the Global Education Training Institute from Lucknow. We are the premier institute for training teachers and principals in India and in several parts of the world. And we have many in service and pre service programs. And for more information, please go to 740-840-1000. Right now, you are on our disruptive education platform provided to us by our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. And in this, we have met with and interacted with more than 1,400 educators from India and all over the world. And this evening, we have for you Dr. S. Veeramani, Head of Department of English, the Government Arts and Science College, Lalgudi, Trichy, Tamil Nadu. He is an illustrious alumni of St. Joseph's College, Trichy. In 2006, he started his career as Assistant Professor of English at St. Joseph's College and later moved to Harignar Anna Government Arts College in Namakkal. Since 2017, he works at the Government Arts College in Kulli Thalai, where he is also a coordinator of IQAC and the NIRF. And soft skills, he has published a multitude of articles in various international and national journals. And to his credit, he has published The Rudiments of English Communication and Lakya Kutpadukal Literary Theories in Tamil, which shows his expertise in both English and Tamil. He has been a zestful resource person for almost 50 events organized by various institutions across the state, inclusive of 11 webinars during the COVID lockdown. And he's a desired speaker. He has reviewed and edited several magazines, like of the International Association of Scientific Innovation and Research of America, the Literary Herald, ICLA, LS, LJ, IJRS, and so on. And he's won the Best Research Publisher paper recently. He will be speaking to us on outcomes based education. He also enjoys reading books and traveling. So, the need for outcomes based education, sir, over to you.
Thank you, sir.
So, your share is not on.
Yeah, I'll share some. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I have to thank the management and organization of GETI, and I have to thank Dr. Pradeep Maul, the ambassador of GETI, for having invited me to give a talk on the need of outcomes based education. So it's my pleasure to thank and discuss on the topic called the need of outcomes based education. In today's education, especially in colleges, engineering colleges, and other technical educations, they are striving to adopt the outcomes based education. It's very, very essential in the 21st century educational scenario. Actually, what is the difference between the outcome and the objective? Earlier, 5 or 6, even sometimes 10 years ago, there was the objective in every course. You know, in arts and science colleges, in engineering colleges, and in technical education, they have a separate course here, which means the subject. So every subject has the objectives. Specifically, every subject has its own objectives to be imparted in the minds of the students. But whereas in today's scenario, that is in the 21st century, we have the new term called outcomes. Objectives are only the teacher centric. Okay, in the syllabus you find the objectives of teaching this particular paper. What are the objectives of having or incorporating a particular paper in this syllabus or in that syllabus, like that there was a debate. Okay, so here we have only the outcomes. In the 21st century, in today's scenario, I tell you that it is only the outcomes. We have the predicted result. Okay, why do you choose this particular course? Each and every course must have its own outcomes. At the end of the graduation, at the end of the course completion, every graduate or else the person who has completed his degree course or degree program, he or she is able to do. So the doing after completing a person's degree, that doing, that outcome is already predicted in today's scenario. In the syllabus itself, it is predicted. In the syllabus itself, it is fixed. Accordingly, every teacher is striving a lot to do the syllabus. And the students are also well aware of the outcomes, what they are going to do after their completion of the programs like UG and PG and so on. So, like that, here earlier it was the objective oriented. That means the professor or teacher centric. But now we have outcomes based education. It is only meant for the student centric. The result at the end, what is the result we provide, we produce? The educational institutions, how and what kind of results are produced? Okay, and then what are the benefits of objective based, I mean sorry, this outcomes based education is, we find that the students involvement is there, and then the proper result is also seen, it is visible, the proper result is measurable. Okay, so in that case we need to incorporate the outcomes based education. UGC, University Grand Commission, has also constantly insisting and reiterating that all the higher educational institutions must incorporate the outcomes based education, because it has conducted a great study and the great research on this outcomes based education. Only then it came to foist that the educational institutions must have incorporated the outcomes based education in the institutions. So that's why we have that outcomes based education in the higher education. The next point to talk about the outcomes based education is helping the students to have the reasoning ability. And then the attainment in the sense, after completing the degree program, the students will be able to do, okay, their outcomes, whether they are settled in a very good job, or they are having a great and socially acceptable behavior, and so on. Everything is a kind of a holistic one. So in this way we can measure the attainment of the student after completing a person's degree program. And then it will help the students have the critical thinking, okay, because we find a number of strategies, methods, and the techniques used to do the outcomes based education. As I told you earlier, it is student centric. Okay, it's not that yeah, teacher centric, but this outcomes based education is student centric. And then we have that skills of various kinds, and then we can have the expectation of the industry, how an industry expects a student, the stakeholder, produced by an educational institution, like that. And then actually in 1990, Australia and South Africa adopted this outcomes based education. In 1994, the United States adopted this OBE program, that is outcomes based education. In 2005, Hong Kong also adopted the program called outcomes based education in the universities. In 2008, Malaysia also adopted this system in public school systems. In 1989, actually, it was this outcomes based education, it was initiated and it was created by the Washington Accord. There was a forum. That forum has introduced this outcomes based education. Because of this Washington Accord, we find the other countries, they have adapted the outcomes based education in their institutions and also in their curriculum development. And then actually it was meant for earlier engineering educations, okay, UG in engineering, PG and engineering, like that. But after that, this system is adopted in arts and science colleges, universities, and especially all the higher educational institutions. What are the benefits of outcomes based education? You know that in India, the NBA is National Board of Accreditation, which gives the grade to the engineering and technical colleges. And it adopted in 2013 in order to promote the international quality education, to give the international quality standards for the technical education, in order to compete with the other nations across the countries. That's why the National Board of Accreditation, that is NBA, has adopted the OBE in engineering colleges in 2013. And what are the means of outcomes based education? It will produce the competencies of the students, and it has changed the certain paradigm shift in content development and curriculum development, and curriculum and content development. And then the organization, and then in teaching level, the methods are changed. Okay, say for example, now we have the blended learning. It is also one of the means of outcomes based education. So the teaching methodology is also changed, the strategies are also changed, and educational environment is also entirely changed for catering what is the real need in the society, okay, to the students. So that's why we have the means of outcomes based education. And in the assessment strategies, we find a lot of assessment strategies. It is not that only the written mode of test, okay, but we have a number of strategies to test a person's ability and their attributes and so on. When the outcomes based education is incorporated in the syllabus, in the curriculum, the teacher becomes a facilitator. You know that teacher is only teaching the subjects. It was meant earlier when the objectives were there in the syllabus. But in the outcomes based education, the teacher becomes a facilitator in order to facilitate the students' knowledge to the society, the knowledge written in the text to the students, and to inculcate the students' knowledge, to impart the knowledge of the students in the society. All these things are there. That's why we can say that a teacher is a facilitator. Okay, now we can have that W.D. Spatty. This person, he is an educationist, and he has written a book called Outcomes Based Education, Critical Issues and Answers. He has given 7 beliefs and features of outcomes based education. Number one, you find that it is to learn and succeed. All the students are expected to learn more things, and they are expected to succeed in their life. Not only in the same way, but in the different ways. So that is the primary aim of the outcomes based education given by W.D. Spatty. And the second point, you know that success breeds success. Okay, not that failure breeds success, not that success breeds failure, but success breeds success, which means already the success is predicted in the curriculum. Already the student's success is predicted in the syllabus. Okay, the framing the syllabus. So it leads to the another success. That's why he says. And then schools, they control the condition of success. Okay, and then it is the authentic and achievable and assemblage of learning outcomes. Okay, so and then the students knowledge is accessible, I tell you that. We find that the students knowledge and their skills, especially in higher education, are assessed. Okay, and then what we find that it is to improve the capabilities at the graduation time. At the graduation time, the students are able to do their well and good in their life. Okay, and then it is what should I say, and then it is accountable to the stakeholders and the learners, teachers, and employers in the public. So when we have incorporated the outcomes based education, the stakeholders role, the learner's role, the teacher's teaching abilities and their roles, on the employer's expectations, everything is accountable and everything is accessible. That's why we have this outcomes based education. So in today's scenario, as I told you earlier, Every higher education institution must incorporate the outcomes based education. In some of the colleges, in some of the universities, they may not have, but in future they have the outcomes based education in order to cater the students with the proper skills and knowledge, because teaching is not meant for the teacher centric, but it is meant for the student centric. That is why we need to adopt that outcomes based education in the curriculum, in the syllabus. Okay. And also in the assessment also, everything is measurable. The student ability is measurable. A student knowledge is also measurable when we adapt this education, this type of a system of education. And then when we talk about the outcomes based education, we need to incorporate, we need to adopt the Bloom's taxonomy. You know that Bloom's taxonomy, it is very much welcomed by the educationists across the globe, I tell you. And also, which is used to teach, to make the students understand the concept clearly, precisely. The Bloom's taxonomy is used because Bloom's taxonomy has two major categories. One is lower order thinking skills, and the second one is higher order thinking skills. You know that under this lower order thinking skills, we have remembering, understanding, applying. These three are the lower order thinking skills. Whereas when we talk about the higher order thinking skills, we have analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So finally, we are going to create. The student must be able to create something new. What they have learned, okay, what they have learned for 3 years or 4 years. Sometimes for the PG courses, they have 2 years. After completion of their graduation or degree, okay, what are they going to create? What are they going to make? What are they going to analyze? All these things are there. So that's why we need to have the Bloom's taxonomy in the outcomes based education, because the reason is we have 6 knowledge factors. Creating is also one of the knowledge factors. Evaluating is also. Analyzing is there. Applying is there. Understanding is also there. And remembering is also there. So all the 6 knowledge domains are there. Under 6 knowledge domain, we have the action verbs. Under this knowledge, we have define, identify, describe, label, list, name, to say a few. And under the understanding, we have we have to say, explain, describe, interpret, paraphrase, summarize, classify. The list goes. And then under this apply, when you are going to apply your knowledge, apply in the sense after a course is completed. Course in the sense a subject, a particular paper. After the completion of a particular paper, how a student is going to apply his skills and his knowledge got through the outcomes based education by means of the curriculum designing. Okay, so how they are going to apply, solving the problem, applying the knowledge, illustrating the knowledge, and modify certain things, use their knowledge, and the list goes like that. Under this analyze, we have compare and contrast and distinguish and explanation and divide, order, point out, and prioritize, and the a list goes like that. There's a number of action verbs are there, and now we have that evaluation domain, no knowledge domain. We have criticize, evaluate, order, appraise, judge, and support, summarize, estimate, and then predict, rank. All these are the action verbs that can be used to evaluate a process, evaluate your knowledge, evaluate your skills and ability which you got from the syllabus and the curriculum development through the educational institutions. And then now we have that last one is under this Bloom's taxonomy. When you say outcomes based education, automatically you need to say something about the Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is the action verbs are used here in the outcomes based education. Under this creation, that is to create something, okay, design. After completing 4 years engineering graduation or post graduation in engineering, how they are going to design, how they are going to compose and create something new, okay, according to the society's need. Society's need. So the society's need, in the sense, it will have a paradigm shift from one generation to the another generation. Okay, that's why every generation has its own what should I say, fulfillment, and its own the structure and the scenario and everything is entirely different from one generation to another generation. That's why the students, the graduates, after the after their graduation of a degree, no, yes, yeah, huge degree or a PhD degree or anything it may be, okay, but they must be able to create something new, and also they must be able to invent. Invention is very important in today's scenario. That's why in higher educational institutions they have the department called R&D, that is research and development. R&D department is there. So they have to construct and develop and generalize and integrate the knowledge from interdisciplinary, from or else the transdisciplinary, from one discipline to the another discipline, and also how one discipline's knowledge is used in another discipline in order to create something, in order to design something new, in order to compose something new. That's why the sixth one is creation, is the higher order thinking skills. So when you talk about the this one outcomes based education, we need to say, we need to incorporate, we need to understand, we need to have the assistance of the action verbs of Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, yes. So with and then what I tell you is some important elements to understand about the OBE. So under this OBE, we have a lot of things to discuss. Okay, we have so many things to discuss because still some research people are doing their research on this OBE across the globe. So what I tell you is a course outcome. Course outcome in the sense, a subject, okay, a paper. After completing a particular paper for one semester, okay, what they are going to do, okay, what is their result, how would be their result, okay, the already that result is predicted, already that result is what should I say, sometimes it is a framed. Okay, that's why we have that course outcome CO, and then PO, that is program outcomes. Program outcomes, which means BA is also a program, BE is also a program, BSc is also a program, MSc is also a program, MCOM is also a program. So for each program, there will be some outcomes. That outcomes are already predicted according to the near situation. Okay, the present scenario, the present industrial needs, the in the job market, how they are expecting the job providers, and the employers, how they are expecting from the graduates. All these things are there. Okay, and then next thing is program educational objectives. Here only we have the objectives. Objectives, which means for the entire program, a few objectives can be given, not that a specific outcome, but only the few objectives are given for each and every program. So this is what we call PEOs, that is program educational objectives. And then program specific outcomes, PSOs. It's very very essential in every subject, in every program and subject and course. It's very very essential. Okay, what is very very essential in this outcomes based education, that are course outcome and program specific outcomes. Course outcome, you know that after the end of the course the students will be able to do. But program specific outcomes, which means after completing the particular program, that is UG or PG or BA, MA, yeah, MSc, BSc, BE, ME, like that. After completion of that, what kind of specific outcomes and specific knowledge and the specific talents, the specific skills they would acquire. So that's very important to say, that's very important to mention here systematically and critically. I will tell you that. So this is very very essential, program specific outcomes. So every program has its own specific outcome. Say for example, if you are doing a BSc in physics, okay, the students of physics, after completing their BSc in physics, they must be able to do something about the electrical things, and what should I say, some knowledge about electronics and electrical. Okay, this is what we call that the specific outcome. If the students are completing BA in English, they must be able to communicate and they must be able to draft something, okay, in a proper manner. This is what we expect the students to have the program specific outcome. So in this way, we need to have the outcomes based education. If it is programmed, if it is implemented in all over the places, especially in all over the educational institutions, the students knowledge and skills will be very very measurable, and it is useful for the society. So with this, I complete today's presentation, that is the need of outcomes based education. I have to thank Mr. Pradeep Mall, ambassador of this GETI institution, for having given this one more opportunity to share my views on the outcomes based education. and the uh, the organizers of this GETI. I have to thank each and everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that talk on need of outcomes-based education. Uh, Always very important because whatever we put in, we have to realize that the outcome must be there, and how to
Yeah,
ensure that is something that you illuminated us about. And before we leave, I request you to watch our detox from our disruptive literacy movement by Global Dream, which is an initiative by Dr. Sunita Gandhi since 2014. And this is to ensure everyone's participation as a people's movement in ensuring total literacy and numeracy in India, especially for our brothers and sisters who are not as fortunate as we are. And it's basically each one teach one, and those of us who can afford to teach more than one should be doing that as a service to the nation. We have many talks on this every day, and for more information on the talks that you would like to tune into, please go to 740-840-1000. So thank you, Dr. Veeramani,
thank you, sir.
and good evening, everybody, and good night. See you again tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
with us.